Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks, coming to you today from La Rioja. We are on our way to Logroño, which is the capital, and it is a must for wine and food lovers. I'll show you around the city, and we'll also see what Logroño is like from a quality of life point of view, should you be thinking of coming to live in a country like Spain. And one of these places like La Rioja or Logroño is on your list. So let's go. Okay, so I'll pick this video up again. I'm now in a residential area of Logroño, as you can hear from the dogs barking. I'm in a park, just taking a bit of a rest. We had a good look around yesterday, and as you know, I'm trying to find the perfect Spanish city to live in. I've been to a few over the years, obviously having lived in Madrid for a long time. Madrid is not the city for me anymore. I need to look for somewhere else, and I'm looking for a place that's a little bit smaller, and Logroño is one of those cities which definitely could be on the list because it does offer very high quality of life, standard of living very high, and it has a lot of the facilities that you need to live well here in Spain. However, it does have some negative aspects that I have picked up on, but I will say that the pros outweigh the cons at this stage. So we'll go for a bit of a walk through the city. At the end of the video, I'll show you around, and I'll explain some of those pros and some of the cons of living in a place like this here in Spain. Let's go. Okay, now pro number one of a place like this is that everything is manageable. It's a city of about 150,000 people, so it's not that big, but you've got good public transport systems by the way of buses that can get you around everywhere. But basically you can walk everywhere, or you could even ride your bike everywhere here as well, because it's really, really flat. And this is also the wine capital of Spain. There's lots of different wine areas in Spain, but La Rioja, which Logroño is in, is the wine capital, in my opinion, of Spain. And basically everywhere you go here, you'll come across shops selling wine, bars selling wine. In fact, if you go out to have a bite to eat, you'll more likely have a glass of wine than a beer if you go out here. And with most Spanish cities, you've got the old part and you've got the new part. We're currently in the new part here, lots of modern flats, and we'll take a walk down into the old part of the town in a minute, and I'll show you a little bit more of the old part of the town at the end of the video, so stay around for that. So I'll reiterate on the fact that it is an easy city to get around. I've been walking for about 5 minutes now, and we're almost in the old part of the city from where we were. Now, as I said before, this is a wine lover's paradise, but it's also a food lover's paradise as well. And they also have the pincho culture, where you walk into any bar or cafeteria or restaurant and they've got an array of pinchos on the counter. Choose what you want and away you go. But very, very tasty pinchos here. Last night we had an absolute treat. We went to about 3 or 4 different places and tried some of the local food, and really, really good. I recommend that highly. Now, another pro about a city like this is that you're very close to nature to get out and do sporting activities, mountain biking. You could probably go canoeing in the Ebro River, which is also a key factor here of the city. And there's lots of different places that you can practice sport. And as I said, because it is a flat city, you could ride your bike around here everywhere and keep relatively fit, or rollerblading, or skateboarding if you like as well. So you could also get around the city really, really easily. And that would help keep the kilograms off should you drink and eat too much. Now, as I said, there are some negatives about a city like Logroño, and probably living in the Rioja region in general, and it is that you're landlocked, and let's be honest, it's not very well connected to the rest of Spain. I mean, there is a train station, you can catch trains to Madrid, probably also to Barcelona. There is an airport, but apparently there's not many flights in and out, so that can be a bit of a negative aspect, but apart from that, not that good. You'd probably need a car if you lived in a place like this, and if you know, you are planning to travel back home quite frequently, it could be a problem to live in a place like this. So that is definitely a negative aspect. Now, of course, when you live in a place like this, you're not going to be eating pinchos and drinking wine all day. So there are a lot of other food options. It's not the cheapest place in Spain to eat. In fact, if you want to have a menu anywhere from 13 to 15 euros, as we can see here. So what's on the menu here? Let's have a look. So you've got a lot of choice, which is quite good. Lots of first courses, lots of second courses. Dessert, 15 euros per person, so that's not too bad. Because as I said, you're not going to be eating pinchos all the time. Now there is a famous street here which is called Calle del Laurel, which is the place where all of the main pincho bars are, and it gets absolutely packed at night. We went there yesterday, full of foreign tourists, the majority of them already sloshed, but a great ambience in that particular street. Highly recommended. In fact, I was reminded of that movie Sideways a few years ago. Such is the wine culture here, and all of the tourists yesterday that were drinking the Rioja wine. That's what I was reminded of. This is also a street that you can imagine that at night is absolutely heaving with people out here standing in the street and doing what they do in Logroño, which is drink and eat. Okay, so this is the famous Calle del Laurel. Probably see behind me that every place is a pincho bar. Don't know how many there are, but a lot. And yesterday at 8:30, as I said before, this place was absolutely heaving with people. Never-ending street of bars and restaurants. In fact, the whole area is crowded. And one thing I will say is that the Spanish omelette in this part of the world, the famous tortilla de patatas, is one of the best that I've tasted in Spain so far. And you can get it at basically every place. They seem to have a pincho de tortilla everywhere you go. Great. And of course, another aspect is that we are on the Camino de Santiago, and you can see some pilgrims there who are obviously making their way to Santiago de Compostela. And there we have the best way, in my opinion, to get around this city, by bike. And another pro of Logroño is the people. The people here are extremely friendly, and they more than make you feel welcome. So that is an absolute plus as well. As we wind our way through these narrow streets, which is one thing I love about Spain, that you have that modern and the old part. And walking through these streets, which are obviously laden with history and construction, but that's all something that you need to take into consideration because these buildings are old. And of course, Logroño is the capital of La Rioja, which is, I think, the smallest or the second smallest autonomous community here in Spain. Remember, there are 17 autonomous communities in this country, and La Rioja is one, and Logroño the capital of that one. From a work point of view, I don't think there'd be any problems to get a job in a place like this if you should be looking. English teaching, of course, there would be demand here, but even if you were retired, this would be a place that could offer great quality of life. The cost of living is not too high. Of course, they speak Castellano Spanish, and as I've said previously, the pros outweigh the cons in this place. And of course, another pro of Logroño is this great park here, which is on the banks of the Ebro River. And that's one thing that I like about Logroño so far, is that it does have a prominent river close to the city. And that's one thing that living in Madrid that I really miss, is a decent water supply, because the Manzanares River in Madrid is absolutely pathetic, but here the Ebro gives life to the city, and an absolute plus from that point of view. Kids are well looked after in a city like Logroño. Lots of places for them to play, lots of these parks and kiddies parks. And another thing is that kids are welcome in a lot of the pincho bars. Of course, you don't take kids at 2 o'clock in the morning to the pincho bars, but they are well received at other times of the day. And of course, graffiti is one thing that you can't get rid of in any city here in Spain. Everywhere you seem to look, there's some type of graffiti, political slogan, or whatever that is. But hey, that's life in Spain. This is a city which is about 90 minutes south of Bilbao by car and about 3.5 hours north of Madrid by car. And as I said, public transport options to get here, trains and planes, are not that great. Of course, you'd have a coach service that could take you to a city with an airport, so keep that in mind. But apart from that, not one of the better connected cities in Spain. So I'll start to wind this video up with this magnificent bridge in the background. So that's Logroño done and dusted. If you're looking for a medium-sized city, let's say 150,000 people, remember it's not that well connected, so keep that in mind, but it does offer a fantastic quality of life. Food and wine second to none, one of the better areas in Spain for that. You've got the new part of the city and the old part of the city to enjoy. People are friendly. What more can you ask for? So the next step is that we are off to wine country, and if you're in La Rioja, that is something that you definitely need to do. So questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have an opinion on Logroño, if you have lived here, if you think it is a city that you would like to visit or live in one day, please feel free to leave it in the section below. Hasta luego.